I have so enjoyed these past few days of conference speakers. It's an amazing place for women to share not only their stories, but to help other women. Today, I am going to tell you about what it's like to have secrets and superpowers. Specifically, I'm going to tell you a few of my former secrets, my superpower, and how it became a superpower by establishing one simple daily habit. And at the end, I'm going to lead you through a sample of that daily habit, a quick meditation that I'll guide you through. I'm also going to share with you at the very end a very surprising trick about meditation that you may never have heard. I also want to say there is some construction going on downtown near the building. So if you hear background noise, it's the same thing as we do when we meditate, right? We meditate in regular life. So if we hear something, we just don't allow it to come in between us and what we're focused on. Because I can tell you, the title of my speech is true. Meditation saved my life. But let's go back to those secrets and superpowers. We begin with the secrets. We all have secrets, some that we share with a select few people in our lives, some secrets we don't want to tell anyone, ever. Our bodies hold our secrets. As someone who has practiced yoga for over 20 years and is a certified yoga teacher, I know firsthand that what they say is true. The issues are in the tissues. We carry secrets in our bodies. We carry stories in our bodies. We carry traumas in our bodies. And on the flip side, as someone who has practiced meditation, actually twice a day for 6 years, I can also tell you that in addition to holding secrets, our human bodies have superpowers. And there are very specific tools that we have available to us that can unlock our superpowers. Maybe you've thought of having a superhuman ability like an extra pair of arms, especially if you're a mother. Superhuman vision, or even the ability to fly. The superpower I'm talking about, though, might not make it into a blockbuster movie. It's something, however, that everyone has. It's both personal and universal, and it's found inside each one of us. We can all develop this superhuman ability by a simple daily habit of meditation. Today, I'm going to tell you my story from heartache to heartwarming and how I unlocked my superpower and liberated myself from secrecy with the power of meditation. For me, developing and maintaining this very simple daily habit has improved my life in countless ways. But let me count a few of them. I healed myself of a destructive habit, which was costing me money, health, and relationships. I got honest with myself, with my family, and about the world, about who I am, and with the world about who I am. I also healed myself from deep sexual trauma. Meditation is the medicine that saved my life. It saved me from myself. There is no coincidence that meditation and medication are just one letter off. They both come from the Latin root medeor, to heal, to make whole. Meditation's unique medicine lies in the fact that when it's made a regular practice, a habit, meditation gives each person exactly what they need to heal, what they need to be whole. But let me go back. My secrets led me to my superpowers. Growing up in the deep South in a strict, super religious household, I had to hide my truth. I had to shove a big personal secret into the proverbial closet because I was and still am queer. But I was so afraid to be myself in a small town to restricted my every move. According to my parents' religion, there was no drinking, no dancing, and no dating. I was told I was to be abstinent until marriage. I wasn't permitted to listen to secular music or watch any popular movies. Even hanging out with my friends was heavily monitored and regulated. In short, I was sheltered in a culture that was monotheistic, monochromatic, and heteronormative. Finally, when I went to college, I had my first taste of freedom. I entered the wonderful world of women, wine, and wiggling on the dance floor. I attended parties whenever I wanted. I stayed out late, and of course, I found some time for studying. But mostly, I was studying up on my newfound interest in women. I fell into puppy love relationships with best friends. And although I dated both men and women and called myself bisexual, I was not out to very many people. Certainly not my family or anyone back home. I began actively hiding secret number one in college and afterwards. But it was a few years after college that another much darker secret emerged. The summer I turned 27 while I was on vacation with my family. I was essentially kidnapped, drugged, and raped by 8 men. Thankfully, they left me the next morning on a bench outside the hotel that they took me from. It could have been so much worse. But the next day, I was still broken. I was bruised, both literally and psychologically. I was really scared. I was in shock. I was angry. And I could not talk about it. I now know and understand the emotions I've just delineated, but at the time, I could not name the hurt. As a result, I now had not just one secret, but 2. I did not think that I could go to the police. I certainly couldn't tell my family, even though we were all on vacation together. Eventually, I started drinking more. It became a habit. I drank to cope with the fear and to cope with the feelings that I couldn't even name. I drank to cope with daily life. I buried my secret alongside the other one. My heavy drinking was self-prescribed medication, my attempt to drown out the shame. I drank to numb the pain, to numb the fear of it ever happening again, and to be able to be intimate with men. I didn't know that I was also numbing my ability to perceive how many drinks were too many. But despite the shame and despite the secrets, at the age of 28, I decided I wanted to have children. Because of my parents' deeply held religious beliefs, I knew they would never accept me for who I am. Because of my people pleaser mentality, I knew I couldn't come out of the closet and have a marriage with a woman. I knew I couldn't have a baby out of wedlock. I knew I had to marry a man. The secrets kept on piling up until I felt like my life was one big lie. The religion of my upbringing was fueled by fear, and fear turns into hate. I was afraid my secret would get out, so I hid in the closet. I was afraid my parents would shun me for what had happened to me, the classic victim blaming. And I was afraid I would never be free to be myself, that I may never have the chance to heal. So what did I do? I drank. Alcohol was that wet blanket over my emotions. It allowed me to continue to seek a husband and to procreate the right way, according to my parents. But hiding my two secrets began to allow me to harbor another secret, a deadly secret: addiction to alcohol. Alcohol was secret number 3. Carrying these secrets left me weak and honestly feeling very powerless. I was unraveling from the inside. And as a result, I was suicidal. I would pass a mirror and look at the reflection and think to myself, I hate you. There is hope to this terrible tale. Finally, in 2014, I found some benefits in meditation. Although it took me a full 2 years to make it a habit, once I committed to making meditation a daily habit, the magic began to happen. My practice began to germinate inside of me, to grow into superhuman abilities. It began small, a quick fix for daily stress, a tool to tune in for answers and clarity around decisions, a surefire way to organize my thinking around any subject. And it grew into less stress overall, a more positive outlook on life, and the ability to respond instead of react to life's challenges. Over time, my true identity began to emerge. It was as if the introspection made me look at my habits, look at myself, and look at the secret of addiction that I was hiding even from myself. Thanks to meditation, I was able to see the destructive habit for what it was. I began changing my relationship with alcohol. I used my superpower of sitting in silence instead of drinking. This new superpower of replacing a destructive habit with a healthy habit set off a cascade of events. I got honest. I got sober. I got a divorce. And I came out of the closet. And it didn't necessarily happen exactly in that order. But not to be flippant, it was not easy. All of that change and healing took time. And beautifully, in a deep meditative state, and with the help of a few integrative practitioners, I have completely forgiven the men who raped me. The work that I did around my anger, around my trauma, and around my secrets helped me to see what we all know intrinsically, but may be difficult to see from the outside. That anger, resentment, and bitterness only hurt one person, the person feeling it. They say holding on to anger is like daily drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. In so many ways, meditation saved my life. I have integrated my past traumas, and believe it or not, I am incredibly grateful for the healing journey that my secrets have led me along. If you want to know more about my healing journey, I wrote a book of poetry. It's entitled Look Lush. And it is about how my secrets led me to my superpowers. I now have the power of presence, the power of responding instead of reacting, and the power of living in my truth, in the freedom of healing. Before I started meditating, I thought my secrets were my kryptonite. Now I know that looking at our secrets, owning them, and working to integrate them are where our true power lies. Maria Nemeth said, "We are only as sick as the secrets we keep." The real secret is that meditation is medicine. Meditation is a superpower in itself. We carry it with us at all times, and it gives us other superpowers that are custom tailored to our situation. So, how can you make the habit of meditation into a superpower for yourself? Maybe you've tried meditation or you've thought about trying meditation. I heard someone say recently that they want to work out as a New Year's resolution. And then they corrected themselves. They said, "Really, I want to work out." Sometimes it's like this. I'll go through some things that people often say to me and what I say back. People say that they are not good at meditating about themselves. I say it is not a sport. It's not a competition or even a destination. It is a journey. People say they don't have time. I say I can't afford to let a day go by without it. In fact, every day I wake up just a little bit earlier than my children so that I can get in my meditation. Because it's just like they tell you before taking off on a plane. Make sure you put on your oxygen mask before assisting others. People say that their schedule is too hectic. I say the best use of my time when I have a deadline is to take a few minutes, close my eyes, and go inside. There are a couple of very specific reasons why meditation works in the body, and you won't find these put together anywhere else in the same way as I'm going to present them. So listen closely. All around us at all times, there are billions of bits of data. That's billions with a B. And the human brain is pretty amazing. The human brain processes around 11 million bits per second. So billions of bits of data, our human brain processes around 11 million bits per second. But on average, we are only conscious of about 40 to 50 of those 11 million bits, not 40 or 50,000. Out of the billions of bits of data, we have privy to 11 million bits per second, and we're conscious of about 45. I did the math. That means that we are conscious of 0.04% of all of the information that's hitting our brains and our bodies. 99.96% of the millions of bits of data per second that we have available to us is being processed by our subconscious. We also have 11 million sensory receptors in our bodies. So although we have 5 senses, 10 million out of the 11 million sensory receptors are connected to our sight. So if you want to access the 99.96% of information that's already in your body, simply close your eyes and shut off 10 million of your 11 million sensory receptors. Go inside to access your subconscious. The subconscious mind is the recipient of all that external data via the senses that we get all day long. And the subconscious mind passes the remaining information onto the conscious mind. But when we meditate, it's the only time during waking hours that we can access those brain waves that use our subconscious. Our subconscious is a predicting machine. And this is how and why our species, Homo sapiens, has survived for thousands and thousands of years. We use our past experiences to predict our future and to keep ourselves safe. And that is really wonderful. The rub is that we're using the past to predict the future. So we're not really ever present. We're living in the past or the future. Meditation teaches us slowly, daily, to be more present. I'm going to tell you a story to illustrate this. I was on a plane with my youngest. She was 4 or 5 years old, and it was a cross-country flight. Finally, I got her settled on her iPad, and I needed to use the restroom. So I locked myself in that tiny little room that if you've ever been on a plane, you understand is kind of claustrophobic in nature. And once I was in there, the turbulence started. And not just a little bit of turbulence, a lot of turbulence, to the point where they came over the loudspeaker and said, "Please return to your seats." Normally, my habit before becoming a practicing meditator would have been to freak out, to worry about my daughter being scared at the front of the plane and not knowing what was going on. It is a habit for us as Homo sapiens to access our subconscious when we're in stressful situations, and to use our past experiences to predict the future in an attempt to keep us safe. So there I was with severe turbulence, separated from my youngest child in a, let's say, compromised position at the back of the plane. And I could have been imagining all of the terrifying things that could happen to the plane. But instead, I chose to do what my grandmother calls, or used to call, the full set check. Having a full set means that your head and your heart and your feet are all in the same place. So not in the past and not in the future. And I said to myself, literally out loud, while I was trying to get out of that very compromising situation, I am right here, right now, instead of predicting catastrophe and inducing stress in my body. Being able to ground myself while at 30,000 feet above the earth is a gift of the habit of meditation. Of course, my daughter was fine when I got back to our seats. She had a full set, and so did I. Meditation gives us the tools to have a full set. It's a gift that affords us our superpowers. Stress is not an emotion. Anxiety is not an emotion. Stress and anxiety are the inability or unwillingness to process emotions, or even the perception that we don't have the tools that we need to process the emotions that we're experiencing. But we can actually draw on the power of our bodies to lead us through stress. Anytime we sit with our eyes closed, shutting off the majority of our sensory receptors, and turn our eyes around to observe the self, we are meditating. I often hear from people who have tried meditation, but don't have a regular practice yet. And they say that the single reason that they don't meditate is that they feel like they're not doing it right. They feel like something especially magical is supposed to happen to them in the moment, or they're in touch with all of their bodily sensations. They feel like their heart is racing, or a really common one is, I have too many thoughts. All of this is completely normal. Think about it. Every day throughout our lives, we are covering up our superpower that's rumbling inside. We tell our bodies what to do all day long. Brush the teeth, drive the car, wash the dishes. It takes sitting and listening to what our bodies are telling us to allow our true nature to gently bubble up. That superpower is strong. And when we begin to access it, the body and the mind are going to throw up all kinds of defenses. The body's used to getting what it wants. The mind is used to being distracted. But our soul is waiting patiently for us to listen to its whispers. We have to sift through the muck of our minds and sit in the beauty of our bodies long enough to become one with the silence. Anytime we get quiet with eyes closed and simply observe our thoughts or our bodies or our breath, we are meditating. It's not a competition. Meditation is a practice. It's not meditation perfection. It's not even meditation performance. If something comes up in the body or the mind, we simply notice it and we send love to that part. I remember the first time I caught a little glimpse of that feeling of self-observation. It was at the end of a yoga class during a little guided meditation. And for me, I saw something in the field of my internal vision. And I felt like a lifting, not an out of body experience per se, but a bit of levity from my connection to my ego. That began my search for the kind of meditation that was right for me. And you can find the kind that's right for you. There are thousands of different kinds of meditation. Personally, the benefits continue as I continue to practice meditation as my most sacred habit. Overall, I've become more peaceful, less judgmental, and more inclusive. In fact, after only a few months of daily meditation, when I had a newborn upstairs, it had been a really long day and I was ready for bed. I knew the baby was going to be up in a few hours for more milk. And I just poured myself a glass of water to bring to my nightstand when I dropped it and it shattered all over the floor. It was a brand new glass and it was an expensive glass that had been a recent present. Normally, I would have been really upset. I would have been upset about the glass. I would have been annoyed at myself for my own clumsiness. And I definitely would have been fretting about the time that this was going to take away from my precious sleep. But none of that happened. I saw the glass and I calmly got the broom and dustpan and I began cleaning it up. And as I was cleaning it up, I became aware. I was aware that I was not reacting. This is what often we hear termed as witnessing. Yogis, sages across the ages refer to witnessing. And meditation gives us this ability, this superhuman ability to begin to observe ourselves as if from the outside. It's like a 30,000 foot view of ourselves. And this kind of awareness, this witnessing leads to the peace, the calm, and the clarity. Even if you don't have a ton of secrets, even if you're not looking to develop any superpowers, meditation is magical in common ways. There are lots of practical applications, like better relationships is one of my favorite to talk about. We become better friends, better partners, better parents, better boss or coworker. I am definitely a better daughter. My parents still do not accept me for who I am. They also do not honor the marriage I have with my wife as legitimate. Meditation saves me daily as I continue to be able to respond instead of react to their fear, hatred, and overall shenanigans, if you will. Dealing with parents or any difficult relationship in our lives can wreak havoc on your nervous system, and especially on your endocrine system. Your endocrine system is what regulates your hormones. And it's not just anecdotal, it's scientific. There's been research, proven health benefits. Meditation lowers stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline, and it increases our immune system functioning. It boosts both endorphin levels and serotonin production. For example, just last week, I had a tough day. And instead of reaching for chocolate or online shopping or a screen, I was able to recognize what I was feeling and express that to my soulmate and wife and get the support I needed. Meditation, when made a habit, creates literal changes in the makeup of our brains. Meditation is exercise for your brain, for your mind, and it's medicine for your soul. The research proves that in daily meditators, there are literal brain changes in remarkably positive ways. Meditation actually decreases the size of the amygdala, which is an area where we process sadness and stress, and it increases areas of the brain that are associated with problem solving and higher cognitive functioning. Maybe you have tried meditation, but you feel like it doesn't work. Maybe you've made self-improvement, New Year's resolutions in the past. Maybe you don't set New Year's resolutions, you set goals. All of these are wonderful aspirations, but resolutions and goals won't work unless you have a system in place to support them. I did not set a New Year's resolution to get sober or come out or heal from trauma. All I did was not stop looking until I found the kind of meditation that worked for me and made it into a habit. It was meditation, the act of folding into myself every day, that led to my ultimate unfolding into my fullness. The single reason why meditation has worked so profoundly in my life is that I made it a conscious choice. I made it a habit to twice a day sit quietly with eyes closed and fold into myself. The habit worked because I put a system in place to support my goal of being someone who meditates. We all have habits and systems, but most of them are unconscious. These things we've decided to do every day, no matter what, like drink coffee or call a certain person or maybe exercise. And these are the things that make up our character. Thoughts become words and actions, and the things that we do and say repeatedly become habits. It's our habits that comprise our character. Think about any person you admire. What is it that makes you admire them? Are they successful, benevolent, or maybe they're inspirational or intelligent? It's the sum of their habits that makes them who they are. If you want to change your habits or start a new habit, I highly recommend James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. There's a Gaelic proverb, "Nothing is easy for the unwilling." If you need help with willingness, then perhaps start with a coach or a hypnotherapist that specializes in procrastination. In summary, meditation has made me both softer and harder. Softer in the vein of forgiveness, both for myself and others, and harder in that I am more resilient in general and more resolute in both establishing and upholding my boundaries. Meditation makes us more of ourselves, more authentic, and more in tune with our inner knowing. Consider this as your personal invitation to meditation, inviting you to incorporate it into your life. If you want to start meditating, I encourage you to start small. The best times to meditate are right before you go to sleep and right after you wake up. But why not start right now? Hopefully you're in a place where you can minimize distractions. But like I said, distractions are all a normal part of meditation. So just drop into your body right now, wherever you are, as long as you're in a place where you're not driving or operating any machinery, the obvious things. And just notice your breath. Try not to change it. Just become aware of your breath. And if your mind begins to wander, come back to the breath. Inhaling and exhaling, noticing the quality of the breath. Maybe you begin to deepen your breath. Maybe you've already done that naturally just by drawing attention to it. When we oxygenate our brains and our hearts, which is the opposite of what happens during stress, we start breathing shallowly and slowly. We can think better. We have better cognitive functioning when we focus on our breath. Notice your body. Where are your clothes touching your body? What's the feel of the air on your skin, where it's exposed? Where are you connecting with the earth? Feel the gentle pull of gravity. Notice your support rising up to meet you. Feel supported right here. Know that you have everything inside of you that you need to be a success, to establish healthy habits, to expand into your own version of your absolute fullness. Come back to the breath. And as you begin to flutter your eyes open, just remember what just occurred. Perhaps you noticed that your mind was wandering during the meditation. This is actually a good thing. The surprising trick about meditation that you may have never heard is that noticing your mind is wandering is meditation. It's watching ourselves and our thoughts and simply noticing. This is the beginning of witnessing. Baron Baptiste said, "Change doesn't happen in one fell swoop. It happens a little bit at a time, step by step, breath by breath, and moment by moment. A small, steady drip of water can erode a boulder over the course of many years. When you come into the now, you become present to one moment and make a tiny shift, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, you have moved your mountain." In closing, in my opinion, if you're not meditating, you are missing out on one of the biggest secrets of all, that you have superpowers hidden inside of you. Superpowers of your own creation, made in the space of silence. My book, Look Lush, is available online and in print, and you can find links on my website. I also coach meditation online. You can find me on Instagram at Sara Webb Says. Meditation is a magical practice. It creates immediate and mounting mental space for personal quiet, and the results are clarity and awareness, so we can live honestly and authentically. Thank you so much.